Get ready for an engaging and musical evening at the historic Texas Theater in Dallas, Texas on September 20th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Join us for a meeting of the minds, love and relationship town hall, sponsored by Preference Dating, Inner City Creative Group, and Real Life Productions. Brought to you by Zulu Vision TV. This event features a lineup of renowned experts: Anton Daniels, Tanya TKO, Kevin Wesley, Princella the Queen Maker, Kevin Billions, and Napa Shada. Elevate your experience with exclusive balcony VIP seating, complete with complimentary catering. Provided by Zulu Vegan Cooking, tantalizing your taste buds with delectable delights. Plus, enjoy electrifying musical performances by Shaka Zulu and Phil Wade. Participate in this interactive town hall where your voice matters. Engage in thought-provoking discussions. Connect with like-minded individuals. And groove to live music. Tickets go on sale starting August 9th, 2023. Secure your spot for an evening of inspiration, connection, and growth. See you there. Brought to you by Zulu Vision TV.
I have, we have our co-host V. Okay, let me turn my phone off and put it on Do Not Disturb. Come on. We have our co-host V. V, I want you to introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are.
My name's Veronica. I go by Vee. I am Puerto Rican. I basically just came on this talk show as a guest, invited by mutual friends. I'm excited.
All right. I'm DJ Genesis. The song you just heard is my song that I put out back in like 2004, back in the middle, right? So I wrote
Mhm.
that song about relationships, right? And that was a monogamous relationship. So what happens, what I wrote that song about was my struggles in monogamy. And, lately, I'm not sure, this was not a thing when I was coming up, polygamy, right? When I heard about polygamy back in the day, it was about like cults and like the Mormons were polygamists. What are those things? The people the Amish were polygamists. Recently, I believe it's been like a big like upsurge of like African Americans becoming polygamous, right? So
True.
uh, I think that I wanted to like actually bring this onto the panel because I believe that this is an important topic in our community because I believe that more and more African Americans are becoming polygamous. More people are um, adapting to that way, and I wanted to like ask the question: why is polygamy something to like behold? Right? Why we already know that African culture polygamy is a thing. So
Hmm.
the guest that I'm bringing on today is a known polygamist, and his name is Kevin Wesley. All right.
Right.
Now, Kevin Wesley, let's bring him up real quick. Let's. So he's been on like different things online. I'm sorry, I actually had it up. Hold on, I chose the wrong thing. Hold on, let's bring the right screen up. Hold on. I'm still new to this, y'all. Okay, so okay. All right. So man forms a throuple. Ex-couple with kids reunites and welcomes a third into their relationship. Kevin and Jamie were happily married with 3 kids until things took a turn, right? The pair went their separate ways. That's until Kevin met Lacey. She was she missing the piece to the former couple's unit? Meet Kevin and Jamie, right? So what we're going to discuss is like their relationship and what made them decide that polygamy was the way. We're going to go into like Kevin's former past as a pastor, and then how like his relationship became a polygamous relationship and what it is that makes that more like of a sound thing, right? So we have Kevin Wesley in the back chat, and we're gonna like bring him on, and so we're gonna like begin to like bring him on. So, hello, Kevin. How you doing?
Peace to you. How are you? I'm amazing.
Great. Now I'm still learning how to use this, so please excuse me if I'm like fumbling along on how like this thing works. So please excuse me.
No problem at all. Give me one moment. I'm gonna try to get some more lighting here. I thought it was brighter. 1 second.
Okay. Hey, crowd. Hey, everybody. Hey, everyone. Listen, throughout the chat, I want you guys to ask questions because we're going to be also like asking questions of the chat as well. Um, and we want this to be an interactive thing because the question really is that why is polygamy the best option for marriage, right? How many people in the chat? I'm not sure how to put up a poll, but you know what? Put ones in the chat if you believe in polygamy or not. The people that are here, I want you to put a one in the chat if you believe that polygamy is a viable option for marriage. Put a 1 in the chat. Polygyny. Okay, so polygamy. We're going to discuss polygyny too, right? But Kevin is a polygamous. He's not polygynous, right? Or are you polygynous or polygamy? Hold on.
Maybe your computer is on because I'm hearing a lot of reverb.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly now. No reverb. Good.
Yeah, that was my phone. My phone. I'm trying to do two things at once. But yes,
Okay.
the question is for everybody in the thing. How many people think that polygamy? If you put a 1 in the chat, if you believe, what was the question again? If you believe that polygamy is a good option for marriage. All right, we only got 2 people. Listen, I'm gonna need some interaction from y'all, okay? Because this is not like a viewer thing. We need people to like interact with us. All right. Okay, Lady Princess says 1. Okay. All right, Miss. All right. So far, you have a lot of allies in the chat room. Surprisingly. Okay, Legina says 2. All right. So you have 1 person that says no.
Okay.
Okay. So my question to you is, well, okay, I think it's fine when done correctly. Okay. All right. So I want to get the background story. What is the background story? How did you become polygamous? Like what was the turning thing? What was it that made this happen?
Well, I can say I never thought I would be polygamous in that way. Never knew what it was. Of course, I grew up on strictly monogamy. It's all I've ever known. I did go through a separation with my wife for about 5 years. I was dating other women, of course, during that time. But I began to do more research on our cultures, and not for the specific reason of polygamy, but through that, I learned about polygamy. I learned about it from a very righteous way, not a superficial way, right? So I can see how it's better for us and our ancestors, how they used it and practiced it, and how many cultures across the world still use it. For me, I was in a loving relationship with Lacey, and I was dating some other women with the thought in mind to become poly. In my research of other relationships and things like that, I would talk about that with my ex-wife because we were still best friends during the separation and all. And she would say, that sounds like something I could do, so she didn't think it sounded bad or anything like that. We always talked about everything. But I went through something with the other women that I was dating, and I decided I didn't want to date them anymore. And they got infuriated by that, went online, told a bunch of lies on me. And Jamie ended up calling me. And she said some very loving and encouraging words to me. And I don't know what happened at that moment, but the love that I had for her, it just blossomed again. We were very good at being best friends and co-parenting and all that. But at that moment, I saw her again, really. And that's when I said to myself, what am I doing? Seeking someone else to be my partner when I already have a wife. I already have 3 beautiful children with my wife. It would be ridiculous for me to go get another wife and I already have a wife, So I asked her, would she be back in my life if she would have me? And she was honored to. She said, I would love to, So I arranged for her and Lacey to meet. And well, actually, I gave them each other's numbers, and they arranged for them to meet and surprised me with it. Sent me a picture of them 2 together. I was absolutely elated, And from there, we started working towards our poly union. We ended up moving together about maybe a month after that. After about 4 months, or maybe 3 or 4 months of practicing poly, we end up making it public. So now we're going on about 3 or 4 years.
Okay, so your wife is the one that introduced polygamy to you?
Well, no, I was researching it along with just researching our culture and our background. After leaving religion, my main thought was, what were we practicing before religion? So in that research, I discovered more information on polygamy. And when I would read it, I would also talk to my wife, Jamie, about everything that I was learning. And when I would talk to her about polygamy, she would say, that sounds like something I could work with that. So that's something she already told me that she could do anyway. But no, she didn't talk me into it. I didn't talk her into it. It was just something I was studying. And then she would just, I guess, give me hints or at least let me know that she could practice that, you know.
So you talk about religion, right? So you used to be a former pastor, right? And I know in the Christian church, even though the Bible has polygamy in it,
Mm-hmm.
for some reason, it's not. I mean, unless you're like a Mormon or other like branches of like Christianity, it's kind of frowned upon to have like multiple wives. Like, why do you think that is?
See, most people look at the social world around them and they don't read their Bible at all. So the social world around them, being in the Western world, absolutely polygamy would be wrong because legally it's wrong, you know. And so that's how we do. The government is our God. The religion they have in front of them, though, the Bible's God backs religion 100%. If they would read that book, they would completely understand that it does. You know, I always say to them that Paul's wives were given to David, you know, when David became king. Actually, when David, went and got Bathsheba, and he had her husband killed at war, God was infuriated with David because he said, I gave you all of Paul's wives. Was that not enough? If you needed more, I would have gave you more. But to take somebody else's wife and then have him murdered, that's wrong. So God ends up punishing David by killing that son. But because his right-hand man was already dead, David stays with Bathsheba and actually officially marries her, and they go on to have another king after that. His name was Solomon, and he became the wisest man in the world, and he had 300 wives. You know, so the Bible's God is not against polygamy whatsoever. In fact, the Bible's God is a concept, and what it's talking about is that's how modern cultures, I mean, that's how ancient cultures practiced back then. Polygamy wasn't a thing people were jealous about. Actually, polygamy is created by women, not men. From this perspective of the Western eye, it's like, whoa, women are like, I don't want to share a man. But women actually created this. If you look at the world now, women actually more so are with successful men. And a lot of other men, average men, go without getting female attention at all. And they will seek out the man who's most resourceful. And they don't care how many of them are with that man. And you can take an account to the Keke Palmer and Usher thing. Many women said, well, he's 10 women down the line now. Y'all still talking about Keke Palmer. All those women were ready to be sang to by Usher. They didn't care if he just sung to another lady. And that's women nature, honestly. They was looking for resources. So getting one man and one man for every woman, that would have left the woman in a bad condition because she wouldn't have gotten the resources for her children, likely. Where they would actually look at a guy who was capable physically, meaning that he's strong enough to hunt and provide for the whole family, resource the whole family, protect the whole family, that he has the demeanor of a leader, someone who will raise their children. And many of those women would marry that same man. You know, so if you go to different cultures across the world, women actually look to married men for marriage because they look at how they treat their current wives, and the wives are encouraging them to come on and join their union because they get what they would call a helpmeet. You know, someone that helps them, you know, do the things, do the roles that they do for their husband or for their families. So yeah, from the modern eye, of course, the Western eye is it's just supposed to be monogamy. But I'll challenge y'all on this. For anybody who may say, well, that's not how women think. That's not how men think. Our natural way is polygamous. And you can tell that by the way we date whenever we're single. When we're single, we just deal with people, okay? If we were truly monogamous, we'd wait till we got one partner and stay with that one partner. It doesn't mean monogamy is not date like you're polygamous. And then when you're in monogamy, now let's be monogamous. It doesn't work that way. So I'll have people criticize me and say, Kevin, you're sleeping with two women, or you two women are sharing a man. And I say, well, if you're single, that man you're sleeping with, you don't know how many women he slept with this year. I've only been with two women in the past 4 years, you know? So, how we date when we're single leads to hookup culture. It leads to the community looking the way it is, and us not being accountable to us being poly means that we're not going to father those children that we left with those women, and we're not going to mother those children correctly either, because we're not being accountable to the fact that we are making these children out of wedlock. If we were truly monogamous, like I said, relationships would look different from the start. Women would stay celibate, and they would retain themselves until they married one man and stay with that one man. And men would do the same. But how do we live our lives? Let's be real. When we are single, we just date and we do whatever. Maybe some people somewhere choose to stay celibate or stay a virgin, but that's not how we live our lives.
So here's the question, because I keep getting people in the chat asking, what is the difference between polygamy, polyandry, and poly or polygynous, right?
Yeah.
So, and do you subscribe to all of those, or do you say, well, those things are wrong and this thing is right, or are all of those things correct?
So they're arbitrary. Relationships are about the people in them, and whatever works for you, that's for you. That's the best I can say for it. But polygamy, by definition, is a man and multiple women partners. Polygyny is a woman with multiple male partners, and polyamory is kind of like a free for all. People that are not that serious about relationships, kind of what you would call being single and having multiple romantic friends. But this is what you all knowing about it. But when you commit, it becomes something else. But polyandry is more like a loose fitting type thing. And some people are good with that. They don't want any real commitments. They just want to kind of have sexual partners and take care of themselves in their own life. Polygyny is, of course, one woman with two men. I can see the adverse effects in that one because her being able to give them both children at the same time would be impossible. And polygamy was created so we could be fruitful and multiply. And not just multiply, but multiply enough to have an army, multiply enough to have a tribe full of hunters, a tribe full of gatherers. We wanted a community. And to get that, women did not be beggars or choosers. They didn't say, hey, this is my man and my man alone. It was about doing it in a fast way, right? Creating a community. So they would say, this man is smart, this man is talented, this man is fast, he is strong, he deserves a lot of children, because we want to emulate that reflection. It wasn't about, that's just my man. These things are Western ideas.
Well, I thought polygyny was more about like a woman like choosing the most viable option as a man. Like, for instance, like, well, so Princella Clark, which is the person that I guess you had like some, some back and forth with. She, when she describes polygyny, she talks about it like that a woman chooses the man that is the most viable option, and that multiple women could choose that man, and that person probably is like a better. It's basically to like suss out the gene pool to make sure that you have the best viable genetic option. So, what do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I would call that polygamy because that would end up being one male with multiple female partners, where polygyny is one female with multiple male partners. The
So
way I understand it, I could be mistaken on the definition of the word. She could be correct on that.
I think it's a matter of like control, like where the woman is in control of the family versus the male being in control, the center, right? Like
Yes,
the
ma'am.
women would be the center, and then in polygyny, and they would choose. Like this, maybe I might be wrong. I mean, uh, but that's what the most common set for polygamy around the world. Until the marriage of men with several women. So polygyny is the most common accepted form of polygamy around the world. And what is the difference between polygyny and does anybody like know that? Let's look. Let's ask.
Yeah, my
So,
beautiful wife Lacey, she fires that off often. I don't really care because I care about the relationship I'm in.
Okay, so I have like two of my like co-hosts here. Do you guys know the difference between polygyny and polygamy?
so I don't know the difference between polygyny and polygamy, but I do know that polyandry is women having more than one male partner, and polygamy is a male having more than one female partner, or whether in marriage or whatever. But polygyny, I have no idea. I thought that it was women having more than one male, but not in a marriage, versus polyandry was women being married to more than one man. But then again, this I am not an
Okay, so
expert
here
in
we
this
go.
area. This is not my
Sorry about that.
expertise.
Here we go. It says polygamy refers to a person, male or female, being married to two or more people at the same time. So polygamy, I guess, is the umbrella, and under that would fall polygyny, which typically refers to a man being married to two or more women at the same time. So I guess you would say I'm polygynous, where it's under the umbrella of polygamy, where polygamy covers male or female having multiple partners.
Okay.
So I guess it would be a broad question to ask someone if they're polygamous, because that's only the umbrella, as polygyny and polyamory likely fall under that.
Okay, so here's the question. Like,
That makes
okay,
sense.
so one question that comes up a lot is like, how do you make sure that in this polygamous relationship that one person is not getting more attention than the other, right? How do you ensure that one person is not like favorites, or how do you get away from favorites, or loving one more than the other, or things like that?
Well, you understand each other's love language, and you give them what they tell you you need. That's the only way to know. As a man, I can say that's one of the toughest part about polygamy for me, is because well, at least at first, because that was always in my head, wondering if I was doing enough, wondering if I might be making the other one jealous, and so more so than they were actually jealous, it was me. So me trying to um, get ahead of what might would make them jealous. So if one of them walks in the room and I'm in the room with one of them by myself, I might get a little nervous, because I don't want to make the other one jealous, even though we full well know it's just a difficult parts of growing into it. But you learn to talk with your partners individually. They are entirely different women. They have totally different needs and wants and desires. And I'll tell you this, because we know about hookup culture and we know some people get cheated on and things like that. How many times have you seen someone getting cheated on for years and never even know? And that person was able to maintain multiple partners and give them all what they seemingly needed, because it's about listening to your partner. If a man knows how to listen to his partner, he'll know how to work with her and give her what she needs in terms of love and affection, or attention, whatever that may look like. So not all women want to be up under you all day. Not all women want sex all the time. Not all of them like flowers and perfume. So you listen to your woman and you work with her, learn their love language. The main thing of my union is not about necessarily romance and what we get from each other in that department. It's righteous. It's to manifest a greater reality. So us three working together with one common goal gives us things a lot faster than it would give two people, because we now have three. So um, our whole goal is love is working together. Love is a romantic feeling in your heart, but what we call love is working together, putting our energy all together towards one purpose, and that's to manifest a healthy life and pass an inheritance to our children's children.
So here's the question: like, what about like homosexuality? Is there any like when you guys like are having sex with each other? Like, do you guys all join together in one big old orgy, or or
No, no, ma'am, no, ma'am. So now that may go on in other people's tribes. That relationships are about the people in them. However, everyone in my tribe is completely heterosexual. I'm straight, and my wives alike are straight. So they don't have any interest in each other. They only are interested in me. And when I was putting my poly union together, that was a question that I always asked: would you want another man? Would you want another woman? Because I wanted a union where they were solely focused on building with me. So if they would have told me they wanted another man or a woman, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have been interested in it. So I don't want to limit a woman if she wants another man. So I prefer a woman who doesn't want another man.
so if like say like down the line the women begin to like each other, would you be like against that? Like, say if they like begin to like start to love each other in a sexual way, would you be like, oh no, no, nah, this is not me, and I'm gonna
No,
say.
not at all. No, if they were to develop a romantic relationship, I would not get in the way of that. We are one, whatever that looks like. So, of course, right now, that's not something that they are doing or interested in, but things could change. Now, however, if they said, I want to allow men in my relationship or in our relationship, then that, of course, would change it. We're no longer practicing polygyny anymore. That's something else, and that's not what I want. So, if they wanted other men, then I wouldn't be involved.
Is there any questions, Janice and V?
No, I think you touched on some of the questions I have for him.
V, you have any questions?
I do have a question. Yes, I do. So, you did touch a lot of very valid points. Polygamy definitely was a woman's idea. It mainly started around the wartime. There wasn't a lot of men, there was a lot of women. And in order for them to all be taken care of, that's exactly what they did. So you're 100% right. What caused you and your wife to separate?
Me being stupid. I got married young, right? We got married at 20 years old. And I believe that marriage was just nothing but love and rainbows, right? Um, when we got older into marriage, I felt like it wasn't what I thought it would be, right? So I sat down and I told my wife, who had done nothing wrong to me, that I wanted out of the relationship. And I've done this probably 2 or 3 times where I actually didn't leave and broke her heart, and I'd feel guilty because she would cry, and of course she'd be hurt. So I would stay. And that last time I came to her and told her, she just said, Kevin, if I understand. And she didn't put up an argument. And I did. I left, but I did structure it. I made sure that she was taken care of. She didn't have to want for anything. All the bills were paid. I went and got me another place. I took care of both of the roofs over our head and still protected and provided for my children all the same, because she had stuck by my side all those years. I'm not going to have her out here hurting for anything. So fast forward to 5 years later, I realized the errors of my ways. That Jamie stayed faithful to me during that time, didn't deal with any other men. I got sick during that time with cancer. She nursed me back to health, all without being in a relationship with me. So I knew at that moment, I potentially probably didn't deserve her, but if she would have me, I would give her the world. So that's that. She's an amazing woman, and I should have never left her like that. That was wrong. But a lot of people get married not understanding what true commitment is, and I didn't. I wasn't raised to know what it was. I had to learn the hard way, and that's why I do what I do now, because my goal is to help couples understand that life is about seasons. You're not always going to feel madly in love, and when that emotional feeling flees, are you going to leave your wife or leave your husband? Because for a man to do that, that's very feminine. So I was living in my feminine, leaving her because I didn't feel the emotional love when I should have been honoring the commitment for my wife and children that I made. So that was a low development point for me in my life. But of course, I've matured since then.
Do you think that because you were all she knew, and you said that you took care of her even while you guys were separated, including while you guys were married, and now that you guys are back together with Lacey included, do you think that the fact that you provided that protection, that financial stability, and you were all she knew, that's the reason why she accepted polygamy?
Um, I don't think that she would have accepted polygamy if I had not shown myself to be the father that I was and the man that I was, regardless of a romantic relationship. So yeah, I think if I had said, because I'm not with you anymore, I'm no longer taking care of my responsibilities, which they're still my responsibilities. And I've always told her, if you give me children, I'm going to give you the world forever, because that's my children. So that I'm not going to break that because I'm no longer romantically, what I felt like at the time was not romantically in love. But she said through all of that, I was still, stable and there for her. So she would want nobody else. Of course, I wasn't the only man she had. Jamie had boyfriends before me. She wasn't my first girlfriend either. But we had been together for so long that you could say that's all we practically knew was each other.
Okay. Now, when you were a pastor,
Mm-hmm.
was she also into Christianity with you, or was it pastor of another religion?
No, so she was a Christian long before me. I ended up going to her church when I was about maybe 15 or 16 years old. I'm living alone. Actually, it was me and my brother living together. He was 16, I was 15. My grandmother had gotten too sick to keep us. Mother passed when I was 3. Long story, but it's just us two living in that home, and this church is across the street from us. And I would go there every Sunday. Nobody had to make me. I was just sitting there trying to get to know who God was. Um, so I became a Christian at that church, started going there for several years. I probably was there maybe 3 or 4 years before I really got um, familiar with Jamie. Now, I knew her my whole life, going to high school, middle school, elementary school with her, but we never really spoke like that. But now she's in this church, of course. I didn't really say too much to her. But after a couple of years, I began to walk her home from like Bible study, and we started growing from there. But yeah, I became a youth pastor in that church by the time I was really about 20, and by 23, I was a pastor, but I would exchange out preaching. My pastor died some years later, and that's when I would take over on Sundays preaching. Um, but yeah, Jamie was in the same church with me. She was right there along with me, believing in God, right there with me. And so was my 3
Did you
children.
change religions?
I became non-religious completely. So I went on a journey to prove that what I thought was God was real over other religions. And after I'd done my research, I could not find anything that could prove that my religion was real. That I could go to other religions and say, I have more than a book. I have actual facts to prove my religion. It is more than faith. And when I realized that all religions were substantiated in faith and not fact, I just stepped away from all of them. You know, I couldn't do it.
What's your religion right now? Are you a Christian? Are you, into like the Hotep, like Egyptology thing, or African spirituality? What is your religion at the moment?
So I'm knowledgeable and well versed in many religions, as I've studied many, looking for what I thought was God, until I learned that these books and all these religions are conduits to self, which is God. So I don't have a religion, as I don't believe there's a religion that can even define how I see what we call God. So I would call myself agnostic because I do not believe in a God outside of myself, like other religions do. Okay, so I believe that we are all reflections of God, and that God has left no literature or anything like that. And the only way to find God is through believing in self and trusting in self. Um,
So
yeah,
a lot of like polygamists, there's like different like so you have like some groups that will center everything around the man and be like, okay, the man is God, right? Then you have
mhm.
some people say the woman is God, right? What stance do you take? Is the woman God or the man God? So you're saying God's within you, or is everybody God, or who is God?
Right. So because God by concept is genderless, then man and woman alike are all reflections of God. So man and woman combining together is the true manifestation of God, because that's when we become one and we can literally create life, thus being God, the creator of all. There's not a single person alive who didn't get here through first a man's seed, the spark of life, and a woman's womb, the ability to nurture life and build it from her own biological vessel. That's how we all get here. So we together are God. When man and woman work together in harmony, they build houses, homes, shelters, and they leave a lineage. When they separate, destruction awaits them. The man cannot get into the future, and the woman cannot have a safe tomorrow. We need each other to survive and live on. And nature's constantly telling us that. There's not a single animal out here who can recreate itself without a male or female. We need that. So there's not a greater person. We are each two pieces of the puzzle of the whole.
So you just said that that if a woman is by herself, it's destructive, right?
If the man or the woman is by themselves, it will be destruction.
Why would you say that? Because I mean, there's several like a lot of single parents out here that are like, with women especially, when the man like abandons the woman, that are able to like take care of their household and families fine. So where would the destruction come from?
Well, imagine a woman never combining with a man. She'd never have a child, right? And if a man never merged with a woman and created the children, all of us would be doomed. So imagine all of us were sterile right now. We know there is no future. All we have is the current life that we live. And that's what it would look like if we didn't have children. Okay, so we would be nothing but destruction. There is no future for us if we don't mate. That's the simple fact of it. Now you can take a situation where you've already had a child. Even then, you're needed because both parents are needed for that child. Can you make it work? Yeah, but you can't make it work wholly because both parties are absolutely needed. So I think it would be ridiculous for a man to say I can raise my child perfectly without a woman and my child go not wanting or feeling neglected for anything. I think that's ridiculous because the mother is needed, and for a woman to assume the same, that's ridiculous because a man is needed. His structure is needed. His guidance is needed. Her nurturing is needed. Her love is needed. These things are needed. And when children come into this world, they deserve that. That's why I say men must find a good wife, and women must find a good husband who will be loyal and stick with them, because your child deserves both parents. They actually deserves a grandfather and a grandmother on both sides. But our heritage has been stripped from us. So many of us don't know our grandparents and things, or even parents sometimes. But what we should do when we're creating our own families is find a stable person who can model what a mother should look like. Don't judge her by her body and her butt. Judge her by her character, her morals, because that's going to be the mother of your child. And a woman should look for the same thing and stick with that person. Love the one you with, because you'll grow old together and you'll see your children grow up and become grown and give you grandbabies. If you do it right, when you die, you'll be able to look them in their eyes when you pass and leave them the inheritance that you so lovingly left them. Broken homes are destroying our communities, man.
Guys, when you guys have a question, just raise your hand so I like know like bet you guys like have a question. Now, here's a question from the audience: who benefits the most from a polygamous relationship?
Everyone, the children, everyone, including the children.
And why would you say that?
So if you take your mind away from the idea of simply thinking about sex, right? Because you would be thinking, okay, well, the man benefits because he gets to have sex with all these women. You know, let's just if you take a look at this, that same man that gets to have sex with these women, he also has to be responsible for those children that come through those women. He also has to be responsible for that woman that he's actually with. Now, this man could do this and stay single. He could sleep around with whoever he want to sleep around with and don't commit to any of them. We call that the single life. So when a man says, hey, I'm going to commit to a woman, if he's doing it the right way, it's going to cost him. He's going to have to take care of her resources and her survival. So that's going to cost him. If a man is willing to do that for multiple women, that's a larger burden for that man. So to men, it's not like, I get to sleep with two women. No, I got to protect these women. That's a greater responsibility for me. But a child with two mothers would most definitely say they're more blessed than a child with one mother. See, if you go all the way back, right now we're looking at the matrix from brick and mortar standpoint. Remove all of that. Go back to the jungle. You got to go back because that's how they strip our families from us. And we trading our birthrights for these buildings and brick and mortar and jobs and titles. Go back to when we actually needed each other. Most of the time, at least 50% of the time, the woman didn't even make it through the delivery. Those births was killing women. So for a man to be able to know he's going to have a safe place for that child, he had other women. Now this cost him. He got to protect them all. He got to feed them all. But if his wife, his current woman who just agreed to be with him, has a child with him, if she passes on, that baby still gets a mother, several mothers. And in a tribe where there's several men, each one of those men are prepared to be the father of that newborn child. So that child will get several daddies, not just one. Now transfer that today. They try to duplicate that, but actually they don't do a good job of it. But they call it stepfathers and stepmothers. If your relationship with your current man doesn't work out, the next man, you would just say he's a stepfather, but you expect him to love your child as just like the next man. So really, even in monogamy, that child got two daddies. Why? If you don't believe in poly, you see. So that's why I say we're poly, but we don't actually be accountable to it. Because if it don't work out with you and the man that you had this child with, you actually ain't supposed to go get nobody else because you say you monogamous, which means you only get one person. And that's actually what you even have sex, because sex is marriage, not legal paperwork. So what we do is we live in the matrix. So we say, oh, now sex is legal paperwork. Marriage is legal paperwork, not just sex. But if you read your Bible, if you believe in that stuff, marriage is actually sex, period. That's what it is. So once you sleep together, that's your husband. So if you say I slept with more than one person, you're poly, you have several husbands. If you slept with more than one woman, you are poly, you have several wives. You're just not accountable to it. We like to pretend we don't do it. If that makes sense.
So what is wrong? So okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Was that B? Or was that you?
Yes, I was just saying that it does. It does make sense. Um, I would like to know if, Lacey is about to have her first child with you. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Um, if she has 3 kids and later on down the line you realize, okay, things are changing, I don't feel the same, would you consider adding another lady to your tribe?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Our union is closed. And listen, I'll tell you, it's crazy because we're poly. When we go out together, people walk up to us right in front of my wives and ask to be a third. They send them messages asking to be a third. Um, they think it's an open relationship because it's a unique relationship to them, right? But we have a very close relationship. If I'm dealing with another woman outside of them, I would be cheating, and that would be wrong. And I encourage men on this too. That's why I say it's not about sex. If you thinking that getting two women is gonna make you disciplined, you're wrong if you like sleeping around. So you're gonna end up hurting more than one woman now because loyalty is not gonna come just because you add women. You got to truly be disciplined, you know. So I'm very disciplined with the women that I'm with, and I won't leave them or anything. I always tease Lacey about it. She say, I'm getting a little bit of stretch marks. They ain't gonna matter. It won't matter if you get a pooch. I'll just love you more. Because if you give me a child, you instantly become the most beautiful woman in the world. Yes.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Shanice.
So why is it a closed union? Like what makes them, that they're the ones, like you don't want anyone else?
Well, just at the time I set my union, that was what I told them. I want you guys. And where we are joined together, there'll be one. It'll be harmony. So I don't have any plans on adding any woman to my tribe at all because I've committed to my wives as the way it were. So could I manage a relationship with more than 2 women? I'm sure I could, but if my commitment to my wives is that they are my wives and nobody else will be added, that's what I'm going to live by. Just like any other relationship, when you choose those people, you got to make that choice because you're saying this is who I'm going to be with. I did the same thing. These 2 are going to be who I'm with, and that's it. My mind will be solely focused on building and giving them the world. If anything else, I'd be distracted because that's not my goal.
Do you have a favorite of your wives?
I absolutely do. Both of them are my favorites.
You guys have to excuse me. Somebody said something about I'm choosing comments that are negative, and I just want to say that I'm kind of new to this platform, how to click things. So please don't take it personally. I'm doing stuff against you. I'm just clicking the comments and let people see what the comments are and the thing. So just don't think that I'm being divisive. I'm just sharing.
No,
there's good comments, there's bad comments.
I'm used to it all.
Right. Questions. T. Thomas asked, does he pay all the bills or does the woman work as well and everyone equally pays all the bills?
Okay, so absolutely I pay all the bills. Lacey was working whenever I met her. So I told Lacey that the moment that we're together, we're married, she can quit that job. I will teach her how to make money using the skills that she had. I did that. She makes more now than ever. And Jamie was the same way. So I created businesses for them. Just like my thoughts are, a man should first be able to purchase his own freedom before he's married. And that means use your skills and your talents to make your money. Okay? Don't have a job. Don't have a job, create your own life and your freedom, right? So when I was able to do that, I made enough to be able to carry my 2 women as well and my children. So I said, I'm going to teach you how to do the same thing. So why not I hunt and then they can create businesses of their own, which would be equivalent to the gathering, right? So what we do with the gathering is we stack that bread and we use that. We stay in a humongous mansion right now. We live in very great. We've had 3 houses since we've started our union, and our goal is to actually buy a whole community. So we have very big dreams.
Do you have a question, Shanice, or did you just put your suggestion in camera?
Yeah. So is there any animosity between the 2 at any time, or?
No, not at all.
For the most part, do they get along?
Absolutely, they get along. They've never had an argument amongst each other one time. They completely respect each other. They completely get along. Lacey loves being a mother to my 3 children. They love her. She's a conversationalist. She gives great advice. She's very intelligent when it comes to just flowing conversations. So they love to go to her and talk to her and get, guidance and stuff like that and insight. So my children are very grateful. They're like, I'm so thankful you brought her into the home, and they love their mother for totally different reasons, so it's like they got something in each one, so it's a beautiful thing.
Divine Lee, the artist.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Peace and blessings to everybody. What's going on, Kevin? How you doing, ladies?
I'm amazing. Peace to you.
And I just was tapping in. I've been following your platform for a while now. I've been seeing you, of course, with the women and people having questions, man. First and foremost, I just want to say, hey, all praises, all honor, all glory to the Most High. I'm thankful that I'm able to see an example of what a man looks like when he's able to operate with women effectively. And so,
yes,
for the most part, I salute you for that. My thing is, when it comes into my manhood, I'm searching for my direction on how to implement my style, my truth, or in essence, really just want to grow in this world with having multiple women. And to hear this conversation right now is definitely insightful. And to have this conversation with women also on standby even gives it that more validation of saying, hey, is this acceptable? Obviously, I'm a young brother over here. I'm still gathering information on how to operate effectively out here, and to see you, you know, using your platform to promote and to do what you do and to say, hey, this is a lifestyle that is acceptable, is something amazing. So I'm just here tapping it in, and I'm pretty sure you see my questions at the bottom of the chat, man, and say they open up the link, and I just wanted to let you know, man, it's a genuine conversation. It's a genuine love I got for you, brother, because I see what you're doing. I hear you. And I'm thankful for the example that you're setting for the man going forward in the generation right now.
Well, first of all, King, I feel very, very honored, man. It's good to see a young man sitting here saying, I know what I want for my life. I know I want, even if it's multiple women that you want, to know that you know exactly what you want to do. And I can definitely help you be able to put that together a little better by trying to figure out what type of women that you want in your life and what you want your union to look like. Because I always say relationships are about the people in them. Once you determine what you want your relationship to look like, as you're dating these women and vetting them, you want to tell them up front exactly what you're wanting, right? And you got to keep saying that. And you may have women who say, you sound crazy. I would never. I could never. That's absolutely fine. Don't settle. You keep asking. You keep saying exactly what it is that you're looking for. And soon you're manifested. People always come to me and say, man, Kevin, you manipulated your wives. That's funny because dang near every interview, there's women asking to be my third. I can't wake up and go to my inbox without women asking to be my third. In fact, there are pages on Facebook, Instagram, all alike of women looking for a husband. So they don't have to be manipulated. Some women actually think these relationships will work better for them too. So I always say to women, don't judge, because all of you guys are not the same either. So just like there's some men who want two women, there's some women who say, I would love to have a sister wife. But I would say to you, depending on what you want your union to look like, my wives, I don't need their income. However, the tribe does. So I can go do the hunting for all of us to survive. I can pay for the home and all, but for the goals that we have in line, it takes all of our earnings to make that happen, right? So when you're looking for your union, you want to ask yourself, do you want a hunter and a wife? Of course, you're going to be a hunter and provider, but your wife can be one too. So like for me, Lacey is very adept with her words. She's very intelligent, and she loves to be a speaker. She loves to counsel people. I saw that in her day one. And I said, man, I'll help you cultivate that into your own business, right? So now she's a motivational speaker, a life coach. I'm a celebrity life coach. I deal with many celebrities. Of course, I don't show that because I can't, it's NDAs, but I work with so many people behind the scenes and stuff. So I teach Lacey to do the same thing. So you would say Lacey is more like a hunter as well, right? Where Jamie is more like a sage or a shaman. She has great nurturing ability. She can see things from and break them down, right? She has good advice for things I should look out for and keep my head over a swivel, like on a swivel. So you find it. And so that sage person is kind of like the person who they may not be a hunter, but they are an innovator. So like say if you're watching someone fish, right? Once you get finished watching them fish, you may have didn't fish with them, but you saw something wrong with the fishing equipment. So maybe you taught them how to make a net, and now the whole tribe benefits from the thing that you saw, right? So I have that amazingly in Jamie, and when she comes to me with any type of advice or something that she sees, I'm all ears. And when Lacey comes to me with a business idea, something she wants to do to help support me in my business endeavors, I'm all ears. So I have a book called Polytribe 101, where I talk about each style of woman, particularly like say a elder, a tribal leader, a chief, not necessarily a woman, but just the individual things that's needed in a tribe, right? So you're gonna need a hunter you're gonna need a hunter, so you're gonna need a skinner, right? So once the food is hunted, you need someone to skin that food and be able to cook it if possible. If the skinner is not the cook, then now you're gonna still need a cook, right? And we see these things done in the world today. They go in our tribes, see how we do things as a family, and then they go create that as a community. So you have a butcher, right? Then you got a market. Then you got all these different things where we did all this stuff at home, man. You brought that whole deer home or whatever you hunted home, and that wife was actually good enough to skin it and cook it for you so you could have the energy to go back out and hunt. And so that's why that's essential in a tribe. So you wouldn't marry a woman who says, I don't like to cook, I don't like to clean, because that means she doesn't want to contribute to the tribe, and each tribal member is needed, right?
But hold on now. Now, I don't like to cook and I don't like to clean, but I'm very intelligent and I can offer something else to the tribe. So I don't think that's fair to say, okay, but a woman doesn't like to do X, Y, and Z. There's different women in the tribe that's good at cooking, good at like cleaning. So therefore, like, but I get it. You only have two, but there's other people that are polygamous that have like 300. You say King Solomon had 300, right? So
Well, yeah, you're right. In a polygamous union, the wife who doesn't, if she doesn't, and I guess I should rephrase that because I don't mean not like to cook. I mean unwilling to cook, right? So some people, it may not be a first love to them, but if they have children, you know you'll have to cook for them, so you will cook, right? But you have some people who have children. You have men who have children and still refuse to provide or even cook if they have to. Cooking is something that is essential to everyone. We all have to eat, so we should learn to cook. We all make a mess, so we should learn to clean. So the man should know how to cook and clean. The woman should know how to cook and clean. And when you come together, both of you know how, because if one of you gets sick, the other one can take it over. I always say to women who don't love to cook to consider the idea that if you can master the kitchen, you are the nurse, the doctor, the practitioner of your house, because what you cook is who you are, right? So if you're giving your man healthier food and your children healthier food, they'll be more intellectual, they'll be healthier, and they'll live longer. But they don't teach that. They only teach it from a maid, a maid or maiden, so to speak, like your place belongs in the kitchen. I think that's very unfair because that strips the woman of her power. Yes, she should be in the kitchen, but that's because she's so powerful. Women's eyes see color better, which means they can access healthier food better. All this translates to why she belongs in the kitchen. You know, it's not because she's weak, it's because she's strong. I would definitely love for a doctor to be in my home. You never get sick, man. You be healthy all the time. They understood the herbs, they understood all of that. So just as my man right here saying he wanted a poly tribe, wouldn't it be amazing if you had a wife who was an herbalist, who knew how to look at your body, assess it, and tell you what teas to drink to keep you in optimal health, keep your mind strong? That'd be amazing, right? And I'm talking about you have that also for your children. Man.
Yes,
so
don't have to go to these doctors.
Right.
Thomas asked a very fair question. Right now, we're only hearing the good about poly. What is the bad about poly? What should others know before entering a poly relationship?
Well, I'll say this. Relationships are about the people in them, okay? So I can't say that there's anything bad about poly. Just like, honestly, I can't say there's anything bad about monogamy, but divorce is at an all-time high. People don't want to be married. Half the time, they don't want to be in a relationship, and they deem men as bad, or men deeming women as not really receptive to a relationship. So you can find a monogamous relationship and find a million things wrong with it based on the people in them. However, I can tell you a million reasons why monogamy is good. You know, and it doesn't mean polygamy is bad, but for the same reason, polygamy is good. You know, so monogamy is good because you get a partner out of the deal. Nobody should have to survive on their own. And with a partner, number one, you increase your chances of survival because with that partner, if you're straight, you get to make more children, and those children get to grow up and help you hunt and gather if you know what you're doing, right? So number one, you survive with that other person, but then number two, now you got four hands instead of two. Women were some of the most ideal hunters back in the day. In fact, they won a lot of archery competitions against men. So women could hunt back in the day.
Actually,
now,
the grandmother was the best hunter, according to what research was. The grandmother was.
wow. Yeah, absolutely. She was, because she had more. It's not based on her physicality. It was based on her experience. She knew how to make traps. So it's not about she could run an animal down better, but she didn't have to run. She was the elder, right? The shaman, like I was telling my man, the person who can look at how you hunt currently and say, you know what? We could get a lot more if we do this. Just make a net, right? And so now in their intelligence, they're able to help the tribe more than that young man hunter, right? Now take a look at today's era, right? The old people are weeded out of families. So we don't see old people as needed in the family. Often they spend their life in a rest home or in a nursing home or on the street. So it's sad that you raise your own family, you stick with them through thick and thin, and when you get old, you don't actually get a family out of it. And this ain't just men who go through this. This is mothers who go through this. They get old and they need to stay with their children, and now their children think they're too damn good. They think their life belongs to them and they don't have to look out for their parents. But your parent fed you when you couldn't eat. They carried you when you couldn't walk. And you owe that to them. But we don't raise our children to understand that every tribal member has a debt to the tribe. Every member is needed. So if you let your mother move in, guess what? Now her intellect is going to be taught to your children. Those old stories of teaching your children about tribe and family and their ancestors would now be there instead of your child being blocked off from who they actually are because we don't want them old people around. I'm telling you, it's wild.
But hold on, speak about this though. So all right, we're still in America, right? So are you legally married to any one of your wives in America?
Yes, I'm legally married to Jamie. I'm spiritually married to Lacey. So
Okay.
if honestly,
Let me
guys,
tell you this real quick. So
okay,
all right, so like, you know, I'm a mother, and my child's father had another child, right? So when
mhm,
he passed away, right, we had to go through probate court to iron out all the like things about like the whole thing, and then because of course everything goes to the children when a person dies, right? Or it goes to the wife. So naturally, because you're married, it's going to automatically go to that wife. Period.
right,
It's not going to go to the kids, right? So when you have this other child with Lacey, right, the money that you accumulate, right, your estate is going to go to your married legally wife, right?
right.
How do you how do you make sure that Lacey is taken care of in your demise?
Great question. So if I were, of course, married to Jamie and cheating with Lacey and having a double relationship like a lot of people do, and something happened to me, Lacey wouldn't have any stake in it. However, in this particular case, because we are polygamous, mean we have agreed that we are one. Now Jamie is in agreement of who Lacey is. And now Jamie and I have a covenant. If something happens to me, Lacey is also taken care of. Also, that's validated and backed by a contract that Lacey and I have with each other. And a lot of you guys can do this as well. Even if you are monogamous, if you are in a relationship where you guys are living together over a period of time, you guys can go get a contract where you guys can protect yourselves if it were to end with all the time you put in, the investments that you make, because you guys are going to be living like you're married. The only difference is you don't have any paperwork, right? So that it's called a cohabitation agreement. You can have
Because you know polygamy is illegal in America, so
right.
therefore,
So only in like Ohio or some places you can actually do polygamy and not be fined and things like that. So in order to protect yourself, you would do a cohabitation agreement. And again, you can't do this just sitting with the person. You have to get your own lawyer. They have to get their own lawyer, and you both sit down. How are you going to do your relationship if y'all break up? So you work it just like a marriage. And a lot of people are doing this to avoid legally getting married and having the government's hands in their relationships. Relationships shouldn't even involve the government. It's petty that they even have legal marriage when relationships have always been about you committing to that person. So me and Lacey and I are very much contracted, and Jamie and I are as well. And we all know about each other, and we have agreed on if a worst case scenario does happen, Lacey will be taken care of.
so
So I know polygamy is permitted in the state of Utah and I believe
Utah,
Arizona.
right? Hmm.
So have you and your two ladies ever considered moving to either of those states so that Lacey can also be legally your wife?
Well, we're leaving the country, so our goal is to actually leave the total country. But until then, no, because even once you get married in Utah or Arizona, you can still be fined. Okay, so you'd have to live in those places, and that's not something we want to do. Lacey and I completely trust each other. I'm invested in this relationship and can stand to lose just like she can. So we made sure that each other could invest in something. And our first investment wasn't our relationship, so to speak. It was our businesses. So we said,
Hmm.
what we're going to do
Hmm.
first is we're going to treat this relationship like our business, and we're going to work together to grow that, right? And then when we have our child, that'll be our next, so to speak, marriage. Okay. And so that's how we do it. And we've always signed contracts and made sure we were protected because I need to feel safe. So does she.
Okay.
If you live together and someone isn't going to marry you, and you know you're going to give them 100% of your time, which you will if you're living together, you're going to be sleeping with him. So a woman is getting older while she's living with this man. The likelihood of her getting pregnant is there because she's sleeping with this man. If he decides to step out on her and cheat, she can get some type of disease by having this being her sexual partner. Absolutely, she should do something to protect herself. If the man's going to stick with the woman and take care and foot the bill and protect her, he wants to make sure that, hey, 10 years after footing my money and all this stuff on investing in this relationship. You ain't just gonna leave me because we're not married. So get those agreements, man, because people should be accountable to being in relationships with y'all. It shouldn't be something that we take so light. And that's why we don't value relationships now, because you just taking somebody's word for a relationship. Yeah, we go together. No, if somebody's with you, it should look like it. They should meet your family before they even start dating. That man should, before you even have sex, he should meet your family. That way, this man ain't gonna hit it and quit it. He ain't gonna come in your house, meet your daddy, meet your mama, sit down and talk with your brothers and sisters just to hit it and quit it. Ain't no man going through that. So if you're saying, okay, I want a real relationship, how do I get that? Slow down and keep your tribe involved. Let them tell you if that man is good for you or not. Listen to their input. And men should do the same thing. Before you sleeping with this woman, let your mama meet her, let your matriarch meet her, your grandmother meet her, your sister meet her. We got to stop playing about that stuff because your children is on the line. You meet this person day one and you sleep with them. You just gave them the highest calling you could ever give anybody, the mother or father of your child. That's ridiculous. But that's what hookup culture gets us.
So
Sorry.
really quick, the trolls are really strong in the chat room. There's a person named Kayla that keeps asking about, I guess that you called some woman or did something to somebody in like another, I don't know what is going on, but this person is like, because I'm going to let you address this situation and then we're going to either kick this person out of the chat or she might be able to stay because she's been in this chat acting like a plum fool. So, okay, Kayla is saying that you went on and called and wished death on some woman or something in like Facebook. Can you like explain what happened in that situation?
I would absolutely.
I want to get over that, and then I want to get back to the real thing because I believe that it's people over here like with this negativity, and I really believe that people really want to know about polygamy. People might be interested in how they can like. Is this something an option in our Black community? We have a lot of single mothers. We have a lot of families that are broken, and people are so hell bent on like just demonizing this young man about his beliefs. But in the end of the day, like, dude, like we want to focus on him getting mad and say, please address that because I want to get this person either you can stay or you can go once he addresses that, and you can either leave it at that, or if you keep going, we're gonna like kick you out. But I want to I want to be fair to the people in the chat.
So number one, I'm the leader and the protector of my tribe, and I protect it against physical threats and rumors, which are spiritual threats that can ruin your entire life. And we all know the power of lies. So there's these people who create these platforms and they spread lies about my family, my brother, my sister, and all this is behind a horrible divorce that he is going through. Won't get much into that. But the reason I cussed this lady out like she so deserved is she was calling my wives bitches and wishing death on my unborn child. Right now, Lacey and I are birthing a child, of course, but there are some complications involved, and we decided to proceed, take it full term, and not do anything invasive because that can completely destroy the baby as well. So when I mentioned this online, they said, get somebody else to pray. I never asked anybody to pray, but you don't believe in God, so we're not praying for you, and your baby's gonna die because you don't believe in God. They're saying all of this. So I'm wanting them to stop talking about my family and calling my wives out of their names, calling me out of my names. They call me gay, accuse me of being gay with Dwight Howard, who's a friend of mine, but they use his reputation to try and bleed it over on me. So they're doing all these things to terrorize my reputation. I don't like it. So I go to her platform because I want her husband to know what she is doing. So I get on her platform and I tell her, bring your husband on here. Actually, I said, bring your weak ass husband on here because she called my wife several bitches just in her latest video. So I'm going to say something about her husband.
I'll say that she's pregnant, and that's fucked up. Sorry, excuse my language.
Right. So let me finish. I want to just tell you this, guys. So like, I call in. She says, "Come on up here, and I'll get my husband." So I came up there. And as soon as I'm up there, now she wants to give me the runaround and not get her husband. Right. So now she's like, "Go get your bitch ass wives. Go get your pregnant bitch wife and side chick." And that's what she's saying to me. Now I allowed her to say this 1,000,000 times. Now I started calling her husband a bitch first because I want you to go get him. And if I got to infuriate him enough to come to this phone, to come to this computer, I will, because I want him to know what you're doing. So I know it's not right to call him that. He ain't called me that, but she's calling my wives that, and they haven't called her that. But however, when I call her husband a bitch, now she realizes morals exist and she wants boundaries. My husband never said anything about you. Right. My wives never said anything about you, but yet they were 1,000,000 bitches. So she continues to call them a bitch, calls me a bitch, calls Jamie a bitch. And that's when I said, okay, I'm gonna give you exactly what you need. Then you're a bitch. If I'm a bitch, then you are. Now all of a sudden it's, oh my God, Kevin disrespecting black women. No, I disrespected you because you disrespected me. You give them a dose of their own medicine, they treat you like you poison them. I find it unreal that people are trying to hound me and say Kevin disrespected a black woman when that black woman disrespected black women herself, called my wives bitches, talked about myself, called my children gay. They'll say anything they can to get up under your skin, and then if you respond to them, they call you feminine. Like you're supposed to let them destroy your family because they're a woman. Lies destroy people's lives. Lies destroy lives, whether it come from a man or a woman. And any man who will sit there and let anybody lie on them and their family is crazy. A man should protect his family regardless. So I don't care, frankly, if people think I'm mean to women. I don't care, frankly, if people think I'm mean to black women. Go watch the video, you will see it for yourself. So what they think is that video is going to ruin my life and my career. Anybody who saw that can see that you're calling my wives bitches a billion times. And I think that's unfair to say I'm going to treat people like I want to be treated. And I'm going to cuss at you, but I don't want you to cuss me back. I think that's very unfair. You know, so I'm going to cuss you back if you cussing at me. I'm not a wimp. I don't know who you think I am. I don't play like that. Leave my family alone and I won't be cussing you out. It's that simple. And that's the least I can do is give you these words, but you're going to get these words. I can't put my hands on you, but I am going to cuss you out.
What I'm going to say is this, is that, okay, we're going to do a poll. But everybody, if you want to get rid of all the trolls in this chat, right, I'm going to do a 30-second countdown. Put a 1 in the chat. We need to get rid of all the trolls in here so we can have a positive conversation. Let's go ahead and figure out if we should just go ahead and put a 1 in the chat. Let's get rid of all the trolls. Okay, so mods, do your thing. Find anybody that was talking negative on this chat and talking stuff about like that situation on Facebook. Could you please like scroll up and get those people out of here? Because we're not here to rehash the past, right? We're here to talk about polygamy and whether it's a viable option for marriage. And I believe that this is a very important conversation that we should be able to have as a community, and everybody to be over here like just attacking him on something he said in the past. That's not what we're here for. We're not here. You guys can like go on his platform and do that or whatever some other time. That's not what we're here for. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's being disruptive. It's a disruptive energy, and that's not what we're here for. We're not here for that.
And that's their goal. That's their goal.
My question to Brother Kevin and then to the ladies in the chat. Why is polygamy or polygyny so demonized and same-sex marriage celebrated? Well, why do you believe that is so?
Did you get the question, Kevin?
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were asking the ladies. Okay, my bad.
Oh, first you, and then I want to hear the ladies.
Perfect. Okay, great. I think honestly, because people look at same-sex relationships as they're happy in it, and they don't see how the other person could be being left out or feel jealousy because at least they got each other. I think from the outside looking in, a polygamous relationship to a monogamous culture, it looks bad because they're just like, well, y'all have to share and all this stuff, but it doesn't matter if you're gay, and they don't look at it and say, well, y'all don't get kids out of it. That's kind of like what that defeats the purpose, right? Nobody sees that. They just sees, okay, well, they're happy, love each other. Same thing with two women. You don't get kids out of it, but of course you can go do that. You can adopt and all this type of stuff and have a child. But yeah, I think that because of number one, programming, social engineering, we've got more comfortable with, homosexuality, while polygamy is something that has never been okay. We still, demonize the idea of having multiple partners and whatnot. So even when all parties agree, it's still something that the outsiders look at and say, well, I know they agree, but I couldn't do it. So I think it's wrong. Or they'll say, you must have been manipulated. See, think about this. Imagine a gay couple, two men. You're not going to look at him probably and say, you manipulated him into doing that, right? They're probably not going to say that with two women either. But in this situation, because they don't see it as something they would do, it's more like you must have tricked their mind or played them in order to be able to do this. But again, women date like this even in this modern world. You know, how many husbands got a woman on the side and she knows about it, but that same woman, however, if you ask her, would you be poly? Now she'll cheat with another man behind his wife's back. But if you ask her, would she be poly? She'll say no, because it's like the idea of knowing you're sharing and working together is a problem when you rather sneak and be deceitful and be a home wrecker. It makes no sense, But I think that's what it is, just them thinking that somebody's missing something. What do you ladies think?
To the ladies in the chat. Because they got a whole month celebrating same-sex marriage, but then when we talk about a man having multiple wives, it's like, oh no, why is
what's
that?
crazy about that is polygamy is actually considered LGBT. Oh, if I'm saying it right, it's actually considered under the umbrella of that. So Pride Month, my family actually should be celebrating because it's a unique type of relationship. So even though nobody's homosexual, it still actually falls under the umbrella. I was shocked when I found that out. But even during that month, they don't celebrate my style of relationship, which is crazy.
Shanice, do you have an answer to that question?
I don't. I'm learning. I'm learning.
Okay. I'm still learning how to do this stuff. So.
I like that. I like that. That's beautiful. That she said, "I'm learning. I ain't saying nothing. I ain't speaking before I know. Speaking out of emotion. That's beautiful."
What about you? A Fitness, Vee Fitness. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Turn your mic on.
Here we go. Your mic is off. Oh, okay. We can't hear. We can't hear you, honey. We can't hear you.
Turn your mic on, Vee.
I unmuted your mic, so I don't know. Your mic isn't connected, huh? Okay. All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. All I can say is I don't practice polygamy. It's not something that I believe in for myself. It also goes against my spiritual beliefs and my health standards. I prefer to only have one person. However, I definitely do not knock those that choose to do or practice polygamy. Just like homosexuals, they want to have polygamy with the same sex, or they want to be monogamous with the same sex. That's their preference. Um, I have, I want to say, health preferences, that with the way the world and society is right now, where everyone is reckless. I agree with what Kevin said. It's very important to choose the right person, not just for polygamous purposes. You really have to think twice, 3 times, maybe 4 times, meet their family, because all of that definitely does matter. It has a huge impact in if you want to build a family or not, if you want to be financially stable, mentally, um, basically, all of it definitely matters. So I completely agree with Kevin in that standpoint. And I think that people are just very judgmental. They, a lot of them were never taught how to cope with differences. I think that's why you see a lot of hate crimes. That's why you see a lot of racism. I mean, sadly, in America, it's something you see every day. Centuries have passed, and still people are treating each other as if we are slaves. So any kind of difference, it's almost like they hone in on that. And now with this whole AI stuff, people are losing their jobs. They're not going to have anything else to do but to hate. They're not going to be happy with their own lives. There's a lot of people that are going to not adopt what you said, Kevin, when you said that people need to rely on their own abilities. Most people don't know themselves. That's why
Right.
they prey on everyone else. but
You're
they do
absolutely
need
right.
a lot of guidance. And it's good that you are a good role model on how a man and a family man should be at that. Again, like I said, I don't believe in polygamy. I do not choose it for myself, but you have a lot of great points, and I definitely do respect your standpoint on how a man should be, how wives should be, how a family should be.
Thank you. Well, I would say my book, Poly Tribe 101, it actually is for people who like monogamous relationships as well. So it teaches men and women alike how to cultivate their relationship, whether you're poly or monogamous. So I believe that relationships should last. I think the children should get a mother and father full term who care about their future and are dedicated to doing whatever it takes to see it through and not be breaking up and stuff after you've already made that baby, you know. So my book is more so about how a relationship's supposed to look, so you guys can keep the right things in the focus of mind and create this healthy family, understanding each other's best talents, skills, so y'all can have a healthy relationship where each person is doing what they best at doing. It's not about, as the man, he should get to make all the rules. If the woman knows finances better than that man, it would only be right if he listened to her, right? Because a lot of men are better when they have a woman by their side. They don't. They're more. They save better, right? So a woman who cared enough about her man to not, take advantage of his spending habits, but counsel him on them, help him maintain a high credit score. They can live in amazingly nice houses. I've seen people make 50,000 a year, and with a very strong wife who understood credit and understood saving, they live like they were making 100. Now I've seen people who make 200, and they both spend like crazy and never keep no money in their pockets. That ain't good for your family because you're living for the day. You're only living for the joy of today, and you're not thinking about 50, 100 years into the future. So I look at it like this, okay? If you get you a stable partner as a monogamous relationship, you look for you a man that has the qualities that you need in a man. It ain't necessarily about how much does he make today. If you are a truly nurturing woman, that man will conquer the world for you. Okay, if he loves you, he'll give you the world, even if he didn't plan on it at first. I've seen men become better men because they had the woman that they really wanted in their life. So if a woman knows how to nurture a man, she'll lead him to wealth. I promise you she will. So don't just go pick somebody just because he got a bunch of money, because if you pick a guy that got a whole bunch of money before he meets you, it's less likely he's going to see your value because he amassed his wealth without you. But a man who met you when he was at the bottom and knew you loved him when he didn't have anything, that man will love you and value you forever. So don't wait at the finish line for the person who wins. Get with the man that you see potential in, and with faith and honor, love that man and see what he becomes, man. You got to trust each other because the man has to see what you become too. And if you take it back to the tribal days, as good as a hunter as he could be, he couldn't necessarily prove it by showing you the tangible things that he hunted for, right? Because there's no refrigerator. So it doesn't matter how good he hunts, it'll all fade away anyway. So regardless of how good he hunts, the food has to be breaking down for the whole tribe anyway. There's no refrigerator. Now we got tangible money. So we're like, how much do you have in savings? No, it's more like, does he have discipline? Is he lazy? Is he driven? Because if he has those things along with your nurturing, man, he'll be nonstop. He'll be unstoppable. But you got to know what you're looking for. The world is teaching women to look for this man who already has all this stuff. She'll be fighting for that man's attention and affection the whole relationship because he had that before he met her. He actually doubts her. He actually thinks, well, what if she ain't with me for me? What if she's with me for my money? But that wouldn't be on his mind if he met you before he had it. So I know that that's one broken way that we look at relationships, is thinking that some man got to have all this stuff before you come in and nurture. That's ridiculous.
I have a question now. Now she did mention something about health, right? So
Yes.
we all know that when a man has relationships with a woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
That with different women's, let's say vaginal cavity, right? Has
Mm-hmm.
different, like, biological, like, bacteria in it, right? And so, like, how do you stop from things like BV? Like, if you're like messing around with one wife and then you come around and then, well, the condom, right? And you come around over here and mess around with the other one, how do you stop it from being a thing where a person's constantly getting infections back and forth? Because it might not be an STD that happens, but just yeast infections, BV, because you might be passing on bacteria that this woman has, and the other one might not have those bacteria in her thing. And then next thing you know, you like have like a funky coochie because you're going back and forth between women. What about that?
Absolutely. So there's some great products that you can clean yourself with and make sure that you're safe for your other partner. If you were in a relationship where all of you guys were getting down, these wouldn't even be raised to question, and those women would be saying, okay, they opening themselves up to that, so to speak. But when you're in a relationship where everybody's heterosexual, you don't want to bring nothing or no residue to anybody else. So I'm not hopping from one bed and going to another with my wives. I make sure I take a long shower before I change that over. So like I said, the products that I use are geared to destroy bacteria and germs, all of that. And I even ask women about that too.
But I'm gonna say this is that okay? So it's about the flora of the woman, right?
Mhm.
Getting deep here, right? Like a woman has a certain vaginal flora, right? And what she's saying is that she particularly was not into polygamy because of health reasons, right? Because when you insert your thing line into one woman and you take it out and you maybe later on might do it to another woman, certain like aspects of that flora actually it's not like you can't necessarily wash it off because it becomes a part of you, right? So it's like your thing line, right? It absorbs the other woman. It absorbs the other woman. So how do you make sure? Because it's not like that she's cheating on you, but it might be a thing where one woman's body chemistry might not necessarily attract with another woman's body chemistry. So how do you like? Is everybody on like a vegan diet where it's only cucumbers all day, or like fasting? How do you make sure that when you're having sex with one woman, that her flora does not start to combat the other woman?
Well, so far we've never had a problem like that. However, we all have very healthy diets, and I maintain myself by washing myself and all. So of course, women are different; they have different body chemistries, but they are sleeping with the same man, so their body should be at least acclimated to me. So as long as I'm not passing residue from one woman to the next, we shouldn't have that problem, or at least we never have. We never had a problem like that. And again, these problems could arise even in hookup culture. These problems could arise even with a monogamous partner because women still have those same issues. And based on what soap the man uses, based on his body chemistry that day merging with her body, could still create those same things. So you're not exempt from it, even if you're with one partner. There's many men who think their wives are cheating on them because her body goes through those same stages. And it's honestly he's the one who's making her sick. It's his body chemistry that she's reacting to. They go through this often. So it's really no way to get away from that other than take care of yourself and clean yourself. So I help men by telling them what type of products to get for even one wife. And they all say that it gets better after they're cleaning themselves properly and all. So, that's what I would say to that. But even then, if that's a worry of you guys, don't sleep around, okay? Because even if you're saying, okay, I'm not sharing this man, that man you're sleeping with, if you're single, you can't bank on it that he hadn't had a partner recently anyway, So now you're sleeping with all the partners that he's recently had, where I've only had two the past 4 years. So I think that when we look at a poly relationship, we can see more of the what we think would be risks. But when we're out here in hookup culture, we don't see any of those risks, and we're taking them times 10 every time we choose a partner to sleep with.
But you know what? A woman's vaginal flora could be like changed just by like what they eat. You know what I'm saying? They could be eating wrong.
Right. That's why it's like it'd be ridiculous to I guess, try and say I don't want to be poly because of that when she can change at any moment, at any time, even with one partner.
Well, I didn't say that it's only because of that. I'm just saying that it's part of my choices.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I understand what you were saying. She was just, I guess, kind of speaking into the
mhm.
health problems that could occur, and
Yeah,
I respect what you're saying, but I'm saying that I think she was more so explaining what you probably meant by health problems, and I thought that's what you were meaning too. I didn't think you meant like you can catch something because you're only sleeping with the
yeah,
same people. So.
it's true.
I
Yes.
would say it's not necessarily catching something. It's not catching something. Like I
Right,
know,
it's not catching
I
something.
know
Right.
people that are in well that are women that maybe like okay, they sleep with their child's father, and the child's father might have a baby mama that they're with, but they're sleeping with the child's father, right? And then their flora will change. They end up getting a yeast infection or a bacterial infection because of like whenever he goes back to sleep with the other child mother, and because it's not a polygamous relationship, but he's going to sleep with that woman, and that woman might not be as health conscious as the other one. So like the thing is that like okay, now I'm sure that you guys are sound within your relationship about what you guys are eating and things like that. But imagine like when you have these poly relationships, and it might not be like as sound as that. And now
Right.
you have a woman getting like a BV and her coochie stinking, smell like fish. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure. That's why I say relationships are about the people in them, right? So I've seen many poly unions that are out now, and they look more sensual or more superficial, where they show more of their body parts and kind of present themselves more sexual or seductive. Well, you'd never see that from my tribe. So every tribe has a different representation of how they want to, represent themselves and look, or where they even want to go. Some people are poly relationships is just about joy and pleasure, where my relationships are not about sex at all. Yes, we have sex, but I didn't manifest my relationship so I could sleep with two women. I want to take care of my families and have multiple children. So Jamie, of course, her tubes are tied. Lacey and I can still keep making children. I want more than 3 children. So my poly union gives me the ability to bring more children into my life.
right. So that's all I was saying. Like, do you guys practice like a vegan like lifestyle or anything like that personally for your union to make sure that everybody is like healthy?
Yes, ma'am. So I would say Lacey, I'm saying Jamie is completely vegan. Her and my children with her. I think my daughter, she eats a little fish from time to time, and we're the same way. We eat fish from time to time, but we're mostly vegan. Every now and then you might catch me with a burger or a steak, but I have to kind of eat like that now. I was completely vegan until I had to have my stomach removed through trying to combat cancer. My mother died of cancer. My sister did. And then when I got tested to see if it ran in the family, it did. My stomach was riddled with ulcers, and I went ahead and had my stomach removed because they actually couldn't test it for stomach cancer. I didn't want to die, so I didn't want to pass on and leave my children here, so I went on ahead and had it removed. That changed my life. So I'm no longer vegan because if I were vegan, I wouldn't be able to maintain weight on my body. Also, the fiber, because plant-based foods have way more fiber in it than meats. My stomach doesn't break down. My lack of a stomach, by default, doesn't really break the food down as well as it does the meat. So I get a lot of stomach pains when I eat a lot of vegan food, But I still eat, of course, my vegetables and all. But I definitely have some meat on there so I can, keep the weight on my bones. So I eat like I have to eat to survive. But if I had it my way, I'd be completely vegan as well still.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's what I was asking because I know other couples that like are more of a vegan lifestyle, and that's why I was asking that. So all right, you're about to have another child. Um, the biggest question is that okay? So in a poly relationship, people say that a man, right? So there's two women, right? And it's impossible to give 100% because you're only 100% of a person, right? So it's either that someone's going to end up losing out, right? Because you have children, you're going to give a certain percentage to, you have the wife, you have to give a certain percentage to, like each individual wife. So how do you make it so that you do not give more of a percentage, right? So you're getting 100% of these women, right, individually, but
Mm-hmm.
then you're only able to give 50%. How so? Is that true, or like how do you combat that aspect to where you don't have enough time or energy to like give 100% to each individual woman? How do you combat that?
So when you find out what the wives in your life wants, you give them what they want, what they need. And so that means you are giving them 100% as long as you're within what they want or need. So if you have a wife who's stressing that they need more, now you may have something to worry about if you know you can't meet her standard, right? So um, in our union, we don't look at it like is he giving 100%? Is it 87? We know that's kind of nuance and it can create a whole lot of problems. We look at it like relationships have stages, okay? And the goal is to make it long term and be looking back with wrinkles in your face, gray hair, seeing your family manifested in several grandchildren, and everybody's happy. We don't want to live in the moment where we're saying, are you giving her more attention than me, or is he over there where he should be here? And in fact, they help me with this more than I'm good at it. In the beginning, I would say, okay, I've been sitting here with Jamie 2 hours. Let me go sit with Lacey 2 hours. I don't want to be weird. I've been with Lacey 2 hours. Let me go back and spend time with Jamie for 2 hours. And this is what I would do on my weekends, okay? But they would all be like, Kevin, you good, but we don't want you in your head like that. If you wanted to take time to yourself for the day, we understand that too. So they helped me with staying out of my head and worrying about that little stuff like that. So I don't think relationships should be built on that. And that's why we go into relationships thinking that they're about us and what we can get from that person. When you're looking for that person that you're supposed to survive with and build with long term, you should be looking at their attributes, the things that make them a great father or mother and make them better for a lifelong relationship. And that means like their nature and how they treat you. That's what's most important. If we make relationships about you don't text me in the morning like you used to, and you don't do this and you don't do that, you'll argue until you're blue in the face, because people are not going to represent that all the time. And sometimes women lose it when a man is not so sensual with them, but men ain't horny all the time, believe it or not. Sometimes we're depressed, sometimes we're out of it, sometimes we got a lot on our mind. And so a lot of times when that's happening in a relationship, the woman feels like he ain't giving me attention. He may not be. He may be going through something. So because relationships are built on stages, it's not wise to focus on nuanced things like that. It's better to say, okay, am I doing everything I can to help this tribe further itself? And that should be the goal. So as long as that's the goal, you'll have the world.
Speaking of sex, right? So how old is your oldest wife?
Jamie is a couple months older than me, so she's 42 already. I'm about to be 42. I'm sorry, no, she's 41 already. I'm about to be 41.
Right. So I'm not sure if she's reached that thing that women do when they get in their 40s, where they are like really extra sexually active and really want it all the time. Like, is it kind of hard to maintain sexually like that level of like this girl wants it, that girl wants it. Sometimes they want it at the same time, and then you get like jump up, go upstairs and get it on wherever, and jump downstairs, go in and get it. I mean, how do you like manage that? Like, if they both want simultaneously, you're like, what you gonna do? How you manage that? Like, I mean, you gotta eat some. What are you gonna do? Like, how do you do that?
So we have a schedule, right? Mondays and Tuesdays, Jamie and I spend our time together. We go out, we find things to do, enjoy ourselves. On Wednesday and Thursday, Lacey and I hang out together, and we do the same thing, and we find special things to do, and we give each other 100% of our attention. Whatever happens during that time happens during that time. On weekends, I spend time with my children. Of course, say like on Friday when that comes about, I've left Lacey now. It's Friday. That night I'll sleep with Jamie. Saturday night I'll sleep with Lacey, and then Sunday night I'll do this like mid thing where I sleep with Lacey at first, and I wake up in the middle of the night, maybe about 4 or 5 in the morning, and then I go, take care of my body, wash myself, meditate, get my mind right, and then go hop in the bed with Jamie. So I don't have a relationship where they're jumping up, running to sleep with me.
Like mechanical computer chip stuff. Like, come on now. Like,
that's what I was thinking. Like, is this scheduled every morning?
Yeah, it's a every week thing. That way,
I'm like be in the kitchen sometime, and she might be cooking, and you just be like, hey, "You look good cooking that food right there. I'm about to get it on right." And then
see, this is why discipline comes in. This is why discipline comes in. If a man has 2 wives in the house, he'll probably will be trying to run crazy and do all kind of crazy stuff. But you still have to be responsible for their feelings and their emotions. On Jamie's days, I'm not sneaking into the room to sleep with Lacey. That wouldn't be right. So in relationships should require structure as well. So think about this. I've created a life where my wives do not have to work. We have a humongous mansion with a big lake in the backyard. We fish, we grow food. We don't have to go anywhere. So they're not dealing with a husband who has to put in 40 plus hours.
I know one thing is that when a woman get in her 40s, it's on the popping. Like, what are you doing? Like, for real? Like, come on now.
Again, discipline.
You gotta wait. She get horny. She gotta have discipline to wait until her day comes up. Like, that's
everybody should. Even monogamous marriages shouldn't be all about having sex all the time. Again, our ancestors didn't do that all the time. The fact that we use it as recreation shows that we've lost the value and the understanding of actual sex, and that's why many of us, it gets boring to us. We're taking advantage of something that we should be taking our time with. Even animals in nature don't breed all the time. It's a ritual. So that's why we have children all different times of the year, because we're not focused in what type of children that we want. Imagine saying,
so sex is only for breeding purposes, like, but your other wife can't have children. So therefore, sometimes sexual is the blue.
Sex is not
not having like a child. The boobs are the only thing
Right.
in the woman's body that are like not even functionally when you're like not pregnant. So, and you have multiple like things going on with the boobs, like that can arouse you and this, that, the other. So you mean to tell me that if your wife is horny, you gonna tell her, listen, you gotta wait until the day, your day, okay?
Well,
She
my
might
wife, I don't think my wife.
one day and just be horny and whatever. About to be, is she premenopause? Her horniness is kicking in. The hormones is kicking. I don't know, like, dude, and you gonna tell her, you know, it's not your day yet. You know, your day is on Tuesday.
Let me say this real quick, okay? So I'm not saying that sex is just for breeding purposes. Sex is about biological communication. When you guys have sex, you become one. So your mind becomes one again, your vibration becomes one again. So sex is good for that, whether or not you can have babies or not. But what I'm saying is solely using your bodies for pleasure is not right. That it breaks down what the value of sex truly is. So if it's just like, I want some head, I want to smash, I'm gonna ride it this time, I'm gonna hit it from the back. Now you've making sex something that is recreational and not something that's holy. It's actually a sacred thing. Now I'm not saying that when you having sex, you can't go all out and be as freaky as you're gonna be, but you know, you should moderate. Life ain't all about sex. And men who have a lot of sex, often they don't get to tap into their mind because that's that spinal fluid that you're giving up whenever you have sex. So a lot of men practice retention to hang on to a lot of their intellect and strength because you lose that when you have sex. So don't be so quick to go around wasting your seed just because you got a woman around.
Sex can be a very great manifestation tool that you can like actually, if you actually set your intentions before you have sex, and you
See, set your intents before you have sex. See, because you know sex is powerful, right? So we shouldn't just be sleeping to sleep, right? So it's like, oh, if we plan, okay, look, we're gonna be abstinent. That's the sacrifice, right? We're gonna be abstinent until for 2 days, and then we're gonna have a sex ritual, right? And whatever we're thinking of at that moment during that orgasm, we're thinking like we're snatching that out of the sky. Those are more powerful whenever you have some time in between your sex. And it also strengthens your bond and makes you want each other more. That's why I say having sex continuously with that same person over and over and over, doing everything under the sun, you get bored quick. And relationships are not just about sex. That's why relationships get together and there's all this passion, right? And then they exhaust all this passion now. And then now, 2 years in, they don't even want each other anymore. They kind of been there, done that, and the passion's gone. When you should have valued each other enough to say, you know what? Let's hold off. We don't have to attack each other every time we see each other. You know, let's be intentional about our sex, right?
Man,
So
I got something to say about this because I might do.
question to you, brother. My apologies, but from brother to brother who is also experiencing this new wave of relationship, do you go into this relationship seeking more sex
No,
as a
no,
man?
you not. No, you don't.
I feel like that needs to be reiterated to the women that are learning about this, because many times I see that this type of relationships, oh, it's just this man just wants more sex. How is this man gonna give me the attention that I need if he's over here giving that, fondling that woman, and she's getting more? And so, honestly,
Great question.
when you
Ask
have
yourself.
multiple women, is it more sex?
Right.
Mechanical. Like
It
it's
is. It is.
mechanical.
It is.
Like
It is.
there's no
So,
spontaneity. Like you know what? You know what I'm feeling today. You know everything is on the
sure. There's spontaneity, but on your days, right? On your days, you
What is
can do all of
mechanical?
it.
Come on now, y'all. What if y'all like watch the movie one day and you just feel the love, and so when you feel the love, you gotta hold that back.
We don't watch a movie one day. If I'm with Jamie on Monday and Tuesday, I'm with Jamie on Monday and Tuesday. Lacey is more so
Or if
diving
you
in.
are just out one day and y'all just feeling it like the moment, and you looking at your wife and like, man,
You are going in about this. You just want it when you can
no,
get it. I get it.
I'm a sexual person. You know, when
So
I'm
probably if you were building a polyunion, you would want to make sure that that you can act on your spontaneity and that your other partner will be okay with it. That's all. But I wanted to answer his question when he asked about is it is it just about sex? I want women to keep in mind if that man I want women to keep in mind if that man were single, he could sleep with multiple women many nights of the week. If he says I want two women in my life, he is vowing to be a protector and a provider for two women in his life. That's not easy because he could just stay single and not protect or provide for any of y'all, and he'll get the same booty because women just be giving it up. So when women say a man doing this just for sex, I say no, he ain't. If he was doing it for sex, he wouldn't commit. He'd stay out here and just run rampant. I promise you.
So
He'd
I
have a
want to
woman
say
for every finger he
something.
got.
You're absolutely right about the difference between a man being married and having that discipline of family and wife, and how he should discipline himself. Every relationship has to have a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
You said it yourself, Kevin, when you said you go into, whether it's a relationship or a marriage, thinking about what you can give, not what you can get out of the other person. And I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
that's really what makes a difference when it comes to sex. Um, when it comes to my personal preference, that is huge. I do want that spontaneity that she's speaking about. And I do want my husband to be able to do that as well. If we're cooking and then, we don't have to wait, that is definitely a sacrifice that in polygamous relationships you'd have to take into account. But even in monogamous ones, you have to take into account that it's only one partner. If he's not feeling up to it, he's maybe sick in his body, he's got a cold, or he didn't sleep well last night, he's going to need that rest, or and vice versa. You have to sacrifice something at one point to be able to meet the needs of that person. And
But
I think that's what's important.
The Bible say
Beautiful said.
you're not supposed to like
Deny each other. I know what you're talking about. But look,
so
Unless you are in agreement, unless it's in agreement, that is
so so
100%.
so even though their relationship is polygamous and there's religious, what if you have a Christian polygamous relationship? It's like so he get to like do whatever he want and she want to do. So anyways, but I wanted to like bring it back.
I want to say this real quick, okay? Keep in mind now that if a man manifests like I have a life where none of us work and we got all the time in the world, so to speak, and I'm not putting 40 hours, 50 hours more in a week just to be able to provide for my family, but I'm home all the time with my family and children. You can see how if a woman has a man who has to go to work, she can't sleep with him anytime. She can't walk in on his job anytime and just get some. She got to wait till he come home. So she does have to wait, right? But me personally, I don't have to go to work. My children and wives are taken care of because I make my money selling my books and on all my platforms. So we are fine and taken care of. So we have way more time together than other couples do. So just keep this in mind. When Jamie and I are together on Mondays and Tuesdays, we're together on completely all day, Mondays and Tuesdays. We do whatever we want. We go to the park. We go to see concerts. We go to hookah lounges. When Lacey and I are together, we go watch singers. We go watch comedians. We go do our loving stuff together. And it's all day. We give each other our full undivided attention.
But you also have days where you guys are together and y'all don't never feel frisky in the middle. After what we listen to this thing, yeah, before I let go, and y'all just
if it's Monday or if it's Monday and Tuesday, and Jamie and I feel frisky, or if it's Wednesday and Thursday, and Lacey and I feel frisky, then that's what it will be. And on Saturday, and I'll tell you this, my wives are not like this. They're not saying, Kevin, if Jamie wants some on the weekend or whatever, don't do it. It's kind of like you don't have to tell us about it. They don't want to come to my room and hear the bed squeaking. You know what I mean? So, they're definitely all still very modest, and we don't have a sexual relationship. I got children all up in this house, so it ain't like we just going to rooms and just sleeping and smashing it out. It's a time for that. That's how we look at it.
or in the bathroom or wherever, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so I was just saying like
Say what?
all right. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
I think when we hear
y'all
polygamy or polygamous, that's kind of where we go with that.
I don't want to be polygamous. That ain't
Hey, bro. It sounds like they want the sex in this polygamous relationship.
Hey, the women want the sex more than the man.
I
You
want
can
the
just
sex when I
tell by
want
all
the
the R&B artists.
You actually, in her 40s, the more she get older, you're gonna find out. I'm 46, okay? Your wife's only 42. The older she get, you're gonna find out. Like all that regimentation, she's gonna be like, man, listen, my hormones are kicking in heavy, and I need to.
I'll say this. So far, I've been able to be successful at satisfying my two wives. At least they have not made any complaints known to me. So typically you don't hear any complaints until the relationship's over anyway. So if something happens, you might hear a bunch of complaints.
I truly believe that it has to do with respect too. If the women respect their husband, they won't really choose to complain about things that they know that they're going to be taken care of
It's a
eventually.
fact.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. So let's get into this, right? Prince Ella Clark. All right. Now we are doing a panel coming up, right? Called the Meeting of the Minds. Okay. And I'm going to play the commercial for that in a few minutes. But so, what was the qualm that you had with what Prince Ella Clark was saying?
Well, she believes that women should absolutely rule men, and not that men and women should work together for a better future. So, I don't stand in this mindset that men should rule women or run women in any way, or that men are the superior to women. She has this idea that women though are superior to men. I think that's a broken view. I think that's going to destroy the communities that we live in with that mindset. So I made a video where I was responding to her video where she was giving some of her views, and I was responding to it rationally. I didn't insult her person. It's called an ad hominem when you talk about the person rather than the content of what they're saying. However, I went back. I think it was maybe even the same day she had already saw my video and began to, respond to my video. She didn't get through it. She probably got through around 5 minutes of the video, but she was talking about what type of hat I wear. Yeah, this type of brother who wears spiritual stuff just to manipulate women. She wasn't dealing with the content of what I was saying. So what I hope is that at the actual event, she can actually deal with the content of what I'm saying instead of talking about my person or me having two wives. He just want all the women to himself instead of speaking to the actual comment that I made about her comment, which was very rational and to the point. If I could think of one right now, I would tell you, but I just can't. But yeah, I do have a video where I am rebuttaling some of the things that she had said, and I was going to review
So
the.
what do you think? What do you think of like the fact that she feels that men are incapable of love?
I think that's completely untrue. I think that men actually love, believe it or not, more so than women. It's men who commit. When men see a woman and he what you would call love, he wants to give her the world. He doesn't say to her that she got to be a certain height, have a certain amount of money, or even look a certain way. When he feels love at first sight, this man is really willing to give her the world, and you see that manifested in nature. That male wants to get into the future, number one, but he wants that spouse and that covenant, so he'll do whatever it means to take it. I mean, to get that. Whereas with women are often looking for you to do something to prove you love them. So when you ask women, who's more romantic, men or women, they'll say themselves, but actually it's men who are romantic and they like romantic gestures. If women were romantic, they'd be buying men flowers and seeking to do romantic things to put a smile on a man's face. If women dealt with love, they would be looking at the man they wanted and going and asking him, will you be with me? Right? And so I look at it like a man commits to a woman through his love. Can a woman love too? Absolutely. But to deny that men love is absolutely ridiculous. Men absolutely do love. You gotta think like this. Why would you say men can't love? Like, where are you getting this from? We have a heart, we have a brain, we have all the emotions that women have. The only thing that's separating us is our biological vessel, which gives us more strength than you guys. But other than that, we're about the same. So men can absolutely love. I've seen them cry over their wives, cry over girlfriends cheating on them. I think that's crazy to say men can't love. So she makes these bold statements like that to say men can't love. Is that because you haven't felt the love of a man? Because I can see why you have that view if that's your life. But it's crazy to say men can't love. That's wild. Men jump in front of bullets for their wives. They get nothing out of it. How dare you
Man
say
go
they
to
can't love?
war. Man go to war for their family.
Right. You get nothing out of that. So it's like, what you mean they can't love?
I think
I
that
would call that love.
she has a book.
And hang on real quick. I'll say this. They say Jesus is the perfect example of love and he died for you. That's the man's goal in a relationship. How dare you say he don't love you?
Well, that's going to be the conversation that we're going to have when we actually do this town hall. Now, she did like a whole thing with Charleston White, and it got kind of heated. With Charleston, he kicked over like some wine and messed up my couch and messed my couch up, y'all. I'm mad about that. So it's interesting that
Charleston Wild though, you could expect that, but okay, go ahead.
right. He got up and kicked. I think everybody kicked some whatever drink they had. They kicked it over at some point in that conversation. It got really heated. And so what happened is that at the end of that conversation, Charleston said, "You know what? We need to take this outside of like just us conversation. This
Oh
needs to
damn!
be
I thought you were just take it outside. Okay.
right." But after I guess when he saw what he said and how it was received, he decided that he didn't want to be a part of it no more. So what happened is we said, you know what? I believe that we have other people that want to be a part of this, that can have this conversation. So that's where we are right now. I'm going to show you guys the commercial real quick, and I want you guys to make sure that you guys like and subscribe. I'm going to show you guys this quick, and we're going to do some last words from everybody. We're almost at the 2 hour mark, so I don't want to just drag this on for any longer. I think this is a great build. Unfortunately, we had some nonsense people in the chat, but overall, I think this was a great conversation. Let's look at this. Look at this.
We definitely had some nonsense in the chat.
Right. What the hell? Oh, okay.
Shout out to Ringo TV Reactions.
Musical evening at the
What up,
historic
Ringo TV?
Dallas, Texas, on September 20th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Join us for a meeting of the minds, love and relationship town hall, sponsored by Preference Dating, Inner City Creative Group, and Real Life Productions, brought to you by Zulu Vision. This event features a lineup of renowned experts: Anton Daniels, Tanya TKO, Kevin Wesley, Princella the Queenmaker, Kevin Billions, and Napa Shada. Elevate your experience with exclusive balcony VIP seating, complete with complimentary catering, provided by Zulu Vegan Cooking, tantalizing your taste buds with delectable delights. Plus, enjoy electrifying musical performances by Shaka Zulu and Phil Wade. Participate in this interactive town hall where your voice matters. Engage in thought-provoking discussions. Connect with like-minded individuals. And groove to live music. Tickets go on sale starting August 9th, 2023. Secure your spot for an evening of inspiration, connection, and growth. See you there. Brought to you by Zulu Vision TV.
All right.
Hey, look, I want to say something here. I see Ringo TV, man. Listen, I want to say to you, brother, if you're still watching, you have a great channel. And he actually, Monica, he actually reviewed my brother's divorce thing with he and his wife when that went down. So he was one of the people who saw through her lies early on and made one of the first videos, one of the first mail pages to actually catch that and see it for what it was. So I definitely really appreciate everything that brother did and said, there. But yeah, he has a great channel there. But what he said was absolutely perfect and right. He said, if a woman has a problem with you being monogamous, but she has several baby fathers, then that's a broken thing, right? Because women will say, I should be able to get another man, and how dare you not want to date a woman with a child? Then you're all saying that you're polygamous. That means you get two men. And you can fake it if you want to, but the fact is now that child has a father in their life and a stepfather in their life. You can call it what you want, but that is polygamy by a different word. Because if you were monogamous, you'd have one husband and y'all would have children together, and that would be all it is to it.
But I think that also with today's society, you have a lot of men kind of walking out on women, this, that, the other. So it's kind of could be that's a whole nother story. But
see, it creates the same problem. It creates the same problem, not honoring marriage and walking away. Even if the woman is not by herself because it's her fault, she still would want to get another man out of that. And religion would say you don't get another man out of that. When any person you're with after you sleep with someone who is your wife or now husband, it would be adultery thereafter. And that's what the Bible says if they believe in that. So this was just showing you kind of how marriage was viewed back in the day when people were supposed to be sort of what you would call monogamous, if you're going to look at it from that standpoint. If you're going to truly be monogamous, you're going to save yourself. You're going to get with a man who has saved himself, and y'all are going to go have a relationship together and raise children, and that'll be all it is to it. It wouldn't be.
Or we can go back to the African days where you would do a dowry, and you would your family would put up a dowry for you to be married to a wife. And then because I believe in all actuality that marriage is not about love. Marriage is.
It never was. It's a business.
I agree. And it's not about love.
That was my problem, was thinking it was about love, and that's why I left. I thought it was about the emotion of love, and that can come and go. Your commitment and loyalty is what's supposed to stick. Marriage is a union. It's a merger of two families becoming one. It's not about love.
I think Polite said. No, not to bring up Polite, but he said marriage is business and love is law. Now, I'm not sure what he meant by love is law. I need to look that up. But
it sounds like you far away, Monica. I can't really hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
It's better a little, I guess.
No, a person said, I'm not going to say who it is because, he's going through some things right now, but he said that marriage is business and love is law. I'm not sure what that means, but the marriage is business part makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know what
The marriage is business part makes a ton of sense. Again, me and my wives, we redefine love because it's seen as something in your chest, right? And I'll give you an example. My brother always says he loves salmon, and I tease him and say, "You don't love salmon, you love the taste of salmon, right? If you loved salmon, you'd be trying to protect salmon, but you love the taste of salmon, the experience of salmon." Often, whenever we say we love somebody or something, we're talking about the experience of it. So, love should actually look like something. So instead of it being an emotion, make it something physical. And if I love my wives, I'll never stop providing. And if I love my wives, I'll never stop protecting. I'll never stop leading. I'll never stop making good decisions for my family.
You know what? I'm going to say this one thing. Now, Priscilla Clark says that men are not the true protectors. It's actually the women that inherently are the protectors. Because you think about it, like the mother, the cub, the bear and her cubs. Like the woman is the protector of the family. The man is the person that provides for, but like the woman is the protector.
So the problem with that,
she felt like that we're giving men like a title that they're unable to like hold up to by giving them the protector title when they're not the protectors.
Not at all. That's why that man has that masculine body and that build. He's stronger than you.
Yeah.
So he can protect you against a threat that you could never defend against, even if you were a optimal mother. So the mother is the protector of her children. The man is the protector of his family, which includes the mother and the children. Absolutely. So wouldn't a mother bear be even stronger if a father bear had her back? So what humans have done is we've optimized nature. We said, okay, we can get along better if that man doesn't just provide a seed and go on about his business. What if he sticks there and raises that child? And that created healthier cultures where we all survive together. So the man is the protector of the family, but the woman is the protector of the children. That's never been an argument. So like I said, her view is a little bit mixed up. Because a woman carries that baby in her belly, she still would survive better if a man was protecting her while she carried that baby in her belly, right? Women get weaker when they have babies. So it would be optimal if a man was there to provide for her when she couldn't. If you think about this now, a woman gets pregnant. She has to go on maternity leave. A woman has her period. She gets weaker because her body goes through changes. She has more fatigue. With a man by your side who does not have those issues at all, he's a utilitarian, meaning his body is built for utility. He doesn't get tired once a month, and he doesn't slow down at all when he has a baby. A man can give you a baby and not even know it. You have to tell him, but in order for y'all to bear this baby, y'all got to nurture this baby to life, which means y'all sacrifice some life. Your body will go through it, okay? But that man by your side, he says to you, because you're going to carry this body and give your life to build this baby, become weaker, lose beauty, lose teeth, all this just to build this baby, I'm going to give you my utility forever in protecting you and this child. He can't get into the future without her. So his contract to her is, if you give me a child and recreate me, I will give you the world. That's the best gift he can give her. That's the best gift she can give him. You give me a child, I'll give you the world.
So we're going to ask everybody on the panel as we like close out to like say a piece. We're going to start with Shanice. Shanice, go ahead. We're going to put you in the center. And I want you to like get what you got out of this whole panel and what your thoughts are and everything like that.
I guess I didn't. I was a little, I don't know. I came in thinking, I don't know about this, but I don't know. You kind of changed my mind on a lot of things that you were saying. I kind of agree with a lot that you did say. So thank you for that.
Powerful. Thank you.
I just want to say it's an honor, it's a blessing to be able to connect and build and grow and learn in this day and age where there's just a lot of differences. Brother Kevin, I salute to you for being an example of what a man is, providing, protecting, and standing up on your feet and not taking any disrespect. You know, for the most part, we all in here to try to build something that is greater than ourselves. And you definitely show a great model example of what that is. And to, you know, everybody who's watching on a playback, you know, this is a very insightful conversation where I feel like nothing but knowledge was shared. So we'll be able to gain some insight moving forward as far as what real relationships look like and what we should expect from them and what love and what marriage truly is. So I thank y'all for letting me be a part of it.
Thank you, brother. That was powerful. And I want to encourage all of you guys too. Please go to Amazon and just type in Polytribe 101. Get my book. And I have another amazing book. It is called The Modern Family and Traditional Family as We Know It is a Broken Home. It shows you that even with a mother and father in the home, that home could even be broken. It's not a tribe, it's a family. We have a family over here. And the concept is family. What my book does is it teaches you how to turn your family into a tribe where each member understands that it has a role to play. And that way, fathers in their old age will still get a family to take care of them, and so will mothers. And the inheritance can be seamlessly passed on to your children. So please get the book. I have another book called The Emotional Terrorizer, which talks about sort of that lady I was dealing with. They use their emotions to terrorize your life and don't know when to quit. And many of us are having to vet through relationships so we don't end up with one. Somebody who would try and ruin your life, abuse you, abuse your mental. We see this a lot. So I wrote all these books are geared to help the community last longer. I also have a book that's called Before You Marry That Single Mother. It's not about not marrying single mothers. It's about understanding your role as a stepfather and the value in that child and what they're going to expect and what they need. So the family
You
can
were
still be
supposed
healthy.
to give this thing at the end. It's one more person that don't tell her last thing. I want you. I want you to remember what you're saying. So I want. Let me get this one person. Vee Fitness, and then I want everybody to remember you at the end what you're saying. So and you
Okay,
can
no problem.
repeat everything you just said again. Okay. All right, Vee Fitness, go ahead.
Hey, so I really want to say that what I love about this podcast, this panel tonight, is the fact that we could agree to disagree respectfully. You don't see that nowadays. It's very rare. I think the level of discipline and maturity is key. And whether everyone is doing the same thing, agreeing with it or not, I think that's very important that we're able to share our ideas, our beliefs, what we do, what we don't do, what we choose, what we don't choose, and be an example for how people really should get along nowadays in society. Not only that, but we learn from each other. Disagreements are great when it comes to conversation. So that's one thing I definitely took away from this podcast, on top of the fact that regardless of whether you're in a monogamous or polygamous relationship or marriage, there are a lot of ideals of how a family should be maintained, how a man or a woman should be, that are similar or the same, still
It is.
should be
Very.
upheld.
Yeah.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
Okay, now you can introduce your book so everybody can write it down. Everybody get your book. Everybody get your pens and pencils out so that y'all remember what he's saying in his books. He's talking about when he's got any links or whatever. I'm not sure if your wives are here to put them into the chat or whatever, like into the chat room. Is anybody here?
That would have been nice too. Goodness, if they are on, that would be nice. But it's all of my books are available on Amazon. So if you want to write them into your phone, into your notes, or if you guys want to put them in the chat, if someone on here could do that, maybe you can't put the links. But on Amazon, it's called The Emotional Terrorizer. So The Emotional Terrorizer on Amazon, and again, that's to help you guys vet for a healthier future with someone who will not terrorize you. Okay, at any moment, you can throw your life away with one bad decision. Why bring somebody in your life who's going to provoke you into making that bad decision and throwing your whole life away? It'd be ridiculous. Emotional terrorizers do not understand the benefits of a relationship. They'll bleed you dry. They think they're all about them. And if they don't get their way, they terrorize. You want to avoid that in a man or a woman. So get that book. It helps you protect yourself. It also teaches you how to stop being one. If you find yourself being that you have been an emotional terrorizer, that you act out of emotion without thinking about the consequences. It also teaches you what it's like to be raised by an emotional terrorizer, what that may look like. And inside this book, after every chapter, it's modules that help you to grow and heal from each version of an emotional terrorizer, whether it be a husband, wife, mother, father, grandparents, or friends around you. Okay. The next book is Polytribe 101, which teaches men and women alike how to manifest a healthy relationship, whether it be poly or monogamous. You will know exactly what your relationship's supposed to look like based on your the members in your relationships abilities, right? So most of us don't look at relationships from that standpoint, but if you can't survive better with them, don't marry them. Don't marry just because somebody's pretty to you or because somebody's funny to you. That's ridiculous. Marriage is a business now. It's about giving your family a mother and a father and a grandparent and and a grandmother and grandfather in yourself down the road, right? So do that. The next book, of course, is The Modern Family and the Traditional Family as We Know It is a Broken Home. Like I said, in the modern world, we call them families. I believe we should be tribes, and the only way to do that is to change your mindset. And I'll give you guys a quick example. Your family is raised with your virtues and your religion, your way of life, your morals. But your next door neighbor, they may not think the same way at all. So you don't have a culture, you have a family idea. Now, when you send your children to school, it's a melting pot of all different families. But inside that school is where they will get introduced to their first culture. This is where a rites of passage to being a man or a woman is now sleeping with somebody. When the mother and father is at home is saying, abstain. So the children get to these schools and their morals break down because the culture is now introduced, and it's not what you're teaching them. So I try to teach families that, if we are more tribal, that means the person living beside you is teaching their children the same thing as you're teaching yours. And now you have a whole community of people who actually think the same and not people who think differently, trying to understand and navigate based on some childish reasoning that kids come up with at school. So if you read this book, you will understand exactly what I mean by the world will destroy your legacy and your lineage. Don't let them do it. Don't let these school systems and these educational systems destroy your legacy. You as the parent should raise your child and teach them everything that they know. Okay, so you can raise your son to be a husband. Only you can raise your daughter to be a wife. If you don't do that, they'll go out here and not know what it takes to maintain a relationship. They'll only know how to seduce. A man will know how to get a woman, but not how to treat her and listen to her and care about her concerns. A woman will know how to seduce a man and get him in the bed, but she don't know how to be responsible to him, nurture him, be feminine with him, and all those things. And then the relationship ultimately ends up breaking up. That's a huge problem. Okay, but I'll move on from that one. The next one is before you marry that single mother. And again, that is so men can understand the impact that they're, or the burden or the mantle that they're taking on when they go into a child's life and says, I'm going to represent a strong male example for you, a strong male figure for you, because that child has needs that you won't even begin to understand or encompass without that book. I'm telling you. I did a video a while back of a stepfather who had raised his daughter all the way up without the father being there, and he was upset because after he's paid for her wedding, she wanted her daddy to walk down the aisle. And many people in the world was validating his feelings, saying he's right. But my video said he's wrong because he's not her father. That man is, and she wants her real father to walk her down the aisle. And as a stepfather, you're supposed to respect that, not fight for that daughter's love and make her see you as the father at that moment, because that is her real father. Nobody can replace nobody's real father. So when a man takes on that role to be a stepfather, he knows that he can't replace that father. That'd be ridiculous to think that. So I want people to really understand what a step-parent relationship really looks like, so he knows what he's getting himself into. Not that it's bad, but if you're gonna make them last, you got to know what they truly are about, right? And so, yeah, please be encouraged, guys, to go read my books. They're great reading material. Every one of them, like I said, are written with the purpose of making us have stronger relationships in your individual lives and stronger communities for the other people who are reading these books. So I put my life's work, so to speak, in these books.
And then what's your Instagram? So I can put it up here in the chat. And then at Kevin Wesley.
So it's Kevin Wesley B_rise is my Instagram. Facebook is Kevin Wesley B, the Evolution. And of course, YouTube is Kevin Wesley, the Truth Factory. But all of them are under Kevin Wesley. So by the time you get my name typed in, you've probably found the page already. I will have my books also at the event too. So if any of you guys that come to the event and want to buy one personally from me and I sign it and all that good stuff, take a picture with you, just come on to the event and I'll have them with me.
Well, I think this is a really great build. Shout out to you. You have been like a great person to have on our panel, and shouts out to the trolls. They all had to go because that's not what we're doing over here. So
Thank
Thank you for coming to this platform, and I wish you the best. And see you on September 20th. Thank you for my panelists, Shanice, Vee Fit, um, Divine Lee, and I'm DJ Genesis. And thank you guys for coming out and checking us out.
Thank
Great
you.
panel, guys. You guys are very
Appreciate you.
intelligent. I love talking with y'all.
It was
Powerful.
nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you as well.
See
Till
y'all
next
next
time.
time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Peace.
Get ready for an engaging and musical evening at the historic Texas Theater in Dallas, Texas on September 20th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Join us for a meeting of the minds, love and relationship town hall, sponsored by Preference Dating, Inner City Creative Group, and Real Life Productions. Brought to you by Zulu Vision TV. This event features a lineup of renowned experts: Anton Daniels, Tanya TKO, Kevin Wesley, Princella the Queenmaker, Kevin Billions, and Napa Shada. Elevate your experience with exclusive balcony VIP seating, complete with complimentary catering. Provided by Zulu Vegan Cooking, tantalizing your taste buds with delectable delights. Plus, enjoy electrifying musical performances by Shaka Zulu and Phil Wade. Participate in this interactive town hall where your voice matters. Engage in thought-provoking discussions. Connect with like-minded individuals. And groove to live music. Tickets go on sale starting August 9th, 2023. Secure your spot for an evening of inspiration, connection, and growth. See you there. Brought to you by